Yeah, but
No,
no.
no intro
No.
video.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't have time. I was too busy.
Okay.
Hey! Hey, what up, everybody? It's your boy Tvshka and Josh. We back in the building, which is a small building, and it is an intro building. Anyways, yeah, let's get this going. Bud, you doing all right?
The fucking Cowboys suck so bad. You know what? I just got just give me a second. Give me a second. Got to change the vibes here. Got to change the vibes.
Okay.
Get him there. Okay, and then we're gonna go put that. We're gonna line it up correctly.
Okay. I like it. Prop comedy.
Yep. Hold on.
Yeah, oh, you going full blown?
Okay.
Not bad.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, dude.
All right.
I like it. Like it.
Yes, not bad for a running back. We know.
Yeah, that was a close one, bud.
Whew.
I thought
sometimes you got to switch the vibes up. If it's just not there, it's not there.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna have to give you the hotline number.
No, we're good.
Yeah, but
not
a great week. Not a great week. The Cowboys. I mean, obviously, shitting all the proverbial beds. And injuries, man. I have a good team, man. Why did not score points?
Before they get injured, as Andy and Jason say in fantasy football.
I mean, before you score a touchdown, get injured. But right. I mean, literally, even the people that weren't injured. My defense scored more than all of my wide receivers that weren't named A.J. Brown. Which, welcome back, A.J. Brown. Baker Mayfield, oh my God, bud. You're not leaving that starting spot.
No.
For Kyler Murray. But, I mean, it's start off 3-0. Fucking feeling hot, doing hot. You know, it's still going after the waiver wire. Of course, you're in the lead, so then you don't have the waiver priorities. I guess that's a little bit of a, sunshine on this shit rainbow. But, I mean, it was a rough weekend. Very rough weekend. But hopefully you guys watching us right now, hopefully you all had a better weekend than we did when it comes to fantasy football.
I mean, I had fun in some of my leagues.
Yeah. Do I need a hug? Yes. Come on, bud. Come on, beautiful. Let's do it.
You got enough hugs this weekend.
Yeah, no, I got a lot of hugs this weekend, baby. Yeah, it was a good one. But anyways, no, definitely like the video. Subscribe to us if you haven't already. We got a lot more content coming out this week. I will post the previous videos that I did work on. It's just been pretty chaotic, man. But but for talking about fantasy football, it's been chaotic as well.
Yeah.
I mean, here we are. We're week 6. You got people that are, small injuries, concussions, so maybe not, going on IR. So you may not be looking at dropping those people, but there are some people that you're probably looking at letting go of, right? So Josh, I mean, right off the top of the bat, we're not going to dive deep into that because we got the top 10, but I mean, what are you thinking overall for week 6, man?
I think it's time to let Marvin Harrison go.
Don't say that. I don't want to.
The offense doesn't work right.
You're making me drink.
The offense doesn't work right. He's been non-existent. Then he gets hurt again, so he loses more time to get reps in with Kyler. And it's not working right anyway, unless they can get on Call of Duty real quick. That's getting ready to come out and get that cohesion going.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to move off the Dolphins because Tua comes back this week, and they just came off a bye. So I'll give it one more week, and if it's not happening, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, even when Tua comes back, at what capacity do we have Tua? And then even then last year, I mean, same thing. I mean, he had concussion, and then came back, and then got another concussion. So I mean, it's just one of those ordeals of, concussions happen, unfortunately, in the NFL. I mean, are we gonna start bringing out the Guardian caps? Like,
I don't know.
Like mandatory, like for quarterbacks or people that are on my fantasy team, please.
Yeah.
Please, can we do that, guys? I don't care how stupid you look. You can take it off when you score a touchdown. But for God's sakes, please stop getting hurt.
A couple other, well, that's the top of my head. Then you want me to save the other players that I have, but
yeah, right, yeah. But some people did do good. Damn it to kill my vibe. Are you saying, damn it, we killed your vibe, or I mean, what are you saying there, Kendrick? Right? And don't call us a bish. See a lot of players wearing the cap this season. Yeah, I've seen linemen. I haven't seen a whole lot of skill players yet. Wide receivers and cornerbacks. But
see that, my guess, at least next season, unless they make it mandatory, and the NFLPA is going to fight that tooth and nail because it takes so much speed.
Yeah,
and it just takes so much. Like linemen, like defensive linemen and offensive linemen, I can understand that.
Yes, we killed your vibe, us hoes. Okay, well,
I can understand that, but as far as
hoes going to do what hoes do, baby. Come on.
Yeah, as far as skill positions and even corners, like Julius Peppers is a safety, so he wears one, but you really don't see many one-on-one corners wearing those two because that's weight, that's extra weight that you're having there, and plus it's not like fastened so forth to your head, like it's still loose from the helmet, so it's just your equilibrium can be off.
Yep. Yeah, I mean there's linemen that run out there and catch balls, right? I mean, but when they do, usually it's an illegal pass. But hey, we're sorry we're killing your vibes. Let's bring it up a little bit. Let's talk about the good. Let's talk about the good of the week, man. Yeah. And some people did do good, and they put the God in good. Son of a bitch, should have been Mike Evans. But Chris Godwin, welcome to the 30-point club this year. I know he's gotten some 20s for you, but good Lord, 36 points off of 11 receptions for 13 targets. Only 13 targets. I mean, that's still good. But, I mean, for this much, it's crazy. 125 yards, 2 touchdowns, man. I mean, absolutely incredible. Him, and we'll talk about him soon as far as Mayfield. They've got the connection. I mean, Evans is good, and he'll get 1,000 points of the season. But God bless, man. Goodwin bless. He's got it this year. But anyways, we'll talk about a little bit more of that connection here soon. But Justin Tucker, what, the running back? Nah, just kidding. It's Tucker, the running back from Tampa Bay. And by the way, in that affair, Tampa Bay won 51-27. Good God, no offense. It reminds me of Baker Mayfield playing with OU in the Big 12. But he came in getting 34 fantasy points, 14 rush attempts for 136 yards, 1 touchdown, and then 3 passing receptions on 3 targets for 56 yards and 1 touchdown. Cool. So this new guy who comes and fills in for Sherrod Wright can get touchdowns, and my guy Mike Evans, who's proven himself, can't get one. Baker, WTF. But oh yes, yeah.
Should have put him at running back.
I guess so. I guess I should have.
I mean, even Bucky Irvin got some of that 51 points. So
yeah. Well, I mean, another person that could be running back is Caleb Williams, man. Getting 30 points off of 4 rushing attempts for 56 yards, but then completing 23 of 29. Awesome ratio there for him for 226 yards and 4 touchdowns. Let's pause right there because I want to see if Caleb Williams is available in our league.
He's not.
I know, but no, I mean he's actually still available in some leagues. But I mean for Caleb Williams, I mean, what are you thinking, man? Is he here to stay?
Yes. That Bears offense is starting to click. They're starting to. I mean, I know it's trash teams in Jacksonville. I was thinking about either in another league. I literally dropped him. I drafted him, dropped him, and then picked him up going into this week. And I still started CJ Stroud over him. But I've contemplated it because CJ still had a great game. It wasn't like it was a bad game, but Jacksonville has the worst pass defense in the league. So, and Caleb looked pretty good the week before. And it wasn't like he was terrible against Indy. He still threw for over 300 yards. But it just still felt like they were off where they're now starting to click that offense. The only thing that worries me is that division is ridiculous right now.
Yep.
Um,
The best division in football.
Yes, by
Hands
far.
down.
I forget where I saw like they have a plus 212 against like the rest of the league. Like it's ridiculous as far as the scoring difference, and I think they're 15-7, something like that. Like they're
as far as the collective? Oh my god.
As far as collective, like what they are in the year. Like the Bears might end up winning 8 games and being last in the division.
Yeah.
Like that's just
I mean, very well could, because so right now, I mean, for context, the Vikings 5-0, the Lions 4-1, Bears 4-2, Packers 4-2. So yeah, so you're looking at 17 wins and 5 losses, dude. That is insane, absolutely insane.
So that's the only thing that scares me. It doesn't really scare me about Caleb, but you can tell once Keenan Allen came back, that offense was just on another level, which doesn't really surprise me because Keenan is just that nice, solid. It's kind of like a Mike Evans. Like, hey, as long as he's on the field, our offense will flow like we want it to. And you can kind of tell that with the Giants this past week. They're still missing Malik Neighbors. You just tell that offense takes a step back. Now Tracy, the running back, we'll get into him, but he still had a great week. But we were expecting more high offense in that game, and Cincinnati buckled down and whatnot. But as far as like if I have Caleb Williams, he's probably not my main starter. So, if it's a bad match, it's all about matchups. But I like where Caleb is heading.
Yeah,
put that you pick him up if he's on your waivers. Pick him up. Long story short.
Yeah, no, he's definitely worth it, and especially since you're coming in the apocalypse. Next week they will be on a bye. So, I mean, if you're needing somebody for next week, don't look at that. But if you're looking to stash, like I am, so what's up?
Cole Kmet.
Oh, my God. Right? For real. I mean, tight ends, that's a whole nother issue.
He was the long snapper because our long snapper got hurt. So he was the long snapper. Yeah. They had him. They had him as the backup long snapper. So he was doing everything. Aside from like selling concessions, he was doing everything else.
He might have even been doing that too.
Yeah, he was in the stands serving nachos.
Yeah, I can't think of a good pun for Komet right now as far as food, but yeah, we'll get there eventually. But so Caleb Williams, pick him up. He's definitely there, and just give a little context to his track. So I just lost him. So in our league, again, guys, we do a full PPR in the redraft with the Ruckus Entertainment Variety for that league. For the full PPR and 4 points for passing touchdowns. Week 1, 7.22. Week 2, 9.36. Week 3, 19.32. Taking a little bit of dip. Week 4 and going 11.48. But then against Carolina, getting 23.56. Jacksonville, 29.64. Right? So getting in the 20s against Carolina and Jacksonville, you know what I mean? I mean, it could just be a little bit of that matchup. But like you said, I mean, you can see the tape right there. I mean, they're clicking. Even against Indianapolis, who not the worst defense, but he got 363 yards.
Right.
But yeah, then they come into the bye. After the bye week, they play the Commanders, Washington Commanders. They play Arizona Cardinals, and then they go to New England, Green Bay, and Minnesota, Detroit, San Francisco.
Yeah,
Minnesota
it gets a gauntlet there at the end of the season.
Yeah, but hey, I mean, maybe this is exactly the schedule he needs. A little bit of a softer entry, maybe other than playing against Houston Texans. Come in a little bit, rookie, get a little bit of establishment, get some rhythm. They're taking a bye week, so hopefully that'll rest everybody up, and then they got the rest of the year to really pick it up.
I mean, if you look at it, all 4 rookie starting quarterbacks did pretty well this week. Even Drake May. It was garbage time, but he still threw for 3 touchdowns. So,
yeah, you're looking at Bo Nix getting 22 points. I mean, he's not in the top 10. He is in the quarterbacks. Actually, we'll do a full slate of the top 10. We'll get to him. Let's go ahead and finish out the rest. So we talked about Baker Mayfield a little bit.
Yeah.
But we'll get to them whenever we get to quarterbacks once more. Joe Mixon.
Welcome back. Welcome back, Joe.
Holy shit, Joey. OU, let's go.
Yeah.
Coming back. Been a little bit injured, but then also not really scoring a whole lot. But he got 27 points off of 13 rushing attempts for 102 yards and 1 touchdown. He also got 2 passing receptions on 3 targets for 30 yards and 1 touchdown. So not like an insane amount of yardage, but the 2 tutties definitely help out. And that's just a good showing period. And that's what you'd like to see kind of from Mixon. It was kind of a little bit of an enigma as far as what exactly he was going to be. But, once he left the Bengals and got to the Texans, got into a little bit of, I wouldn't say a better system, but it definitely seems to favor him, quite a bit. And it seems like the Bengals are hurting a little bit more without him than they expected.
It's definitely a better team.
Yeah, this year. I'm telling you, if Joe Mixon was there, they would have a little bit better run.
Oh, I think the Bengals would be way better than what they are if they have Joe Mixon. But
yep. And we go from Joe to Jordan. So Jordan Love coming in with 27 points. Excuse me. Off of 5 rushing attempts for 13 yards, but really getting to 22 passing attempts, or 22 completions on 32 pass attempts for 258 and 4 touchdowns. Good Lord. You got to love that, right?
As a Josh Jacobs owner, no.
Right. Has anybody?
He's on your team. He's on your team. You score 7 times a game. He has 1 touchdown on the year. 1.
Yeah.
But the dude carries the ball, so it's like that's the thing that stinks because you're watching the game, you're like, come on.
Yeah. It's rough. But I feel like just kind of across the board this year, it just seems like there's so much more spreading of the ball. It's not really just one person getting, other than Godwin, with the Buccaneers. But no, it's just, it seems like everything's a little bit committee-wise. I mean, Justin Jefferson is doing great, but right. Yeah.
That's why I really like Malik Neighbors when he's not concussed, because he gets all the targets, and then Wan'Dale Robinson gets like a couple. So I don't know when he comes back if they're finally going to spread it around, because Darius Slayton did real well last week. Wan'Dale Robinson's always going to get his targets. So what does that mean for Malik Neighbors when he finally comes back next week? I do not know. I would expect it to be back to being Malik Neighbors all the time, every time. But you just never know. He's coming off a concussion, and there's no telling how he felt. I mean, he was at a concert and shit. So.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, go to listen to some loud music, man.
Yeah, bright lights and loud music. That'll work for your head.
That'd be great.
Head trauma.
God bless, dude. I can't say much. Whenever I got concussions in high school, I did that same thing too.
How many times you were probably concussed, didn't even know it?
Oh, yeah. But, hey, we said welcome back to Joe Mixon. A big welcome for the first time.
Oh, that's not Brian?
That's not Brian. That's not Brian this time, baby. This is Bijan.
I was about to say, if that was Brian, it'd be kind of weird since he didn't play at all.
Yeah, exactly. But Bijan did, and he played well, getting 26 points off of 15 carries for 95 yards, but 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, he almost had a hat trick a couple of times. They were flirting with the hat trick for him.
Yeah, I'll take your word. Again, I didn't get to watch any football this weekend.
It's okay.
Sorry, not to rub it in. But yeah, 3 receptions for 4 targets for 10 yards as far as pass receptions. Man, I mean, gloat about him, bud, because he's on our shared team with the Dynasty. But I mean, I know that you've been high on him, and he just hasn't really shown up yet. So, what you got?
I think there's a conspiracy theory out there that there's only room for one B Robinson in the top, like, to do well week per week.
Oh my god!
So there can only be one B Robinson. It's like a freaking Highlander
situation.
Yeah, it's like a Highlander situation. There can only be one good. They're both good, but there can only be one to do well each week, and the other one's just going to be trash.
That would have been a great video. We should have done that.
There can only be one B Robinson. It's like, wow, B Robinson's doing well. Oh yeah, Bijan? No, this guy that got shot.
Yeah, Brian Robinson. But yeah, no, I mean, so happy to see it, Bijan, but don't let this just be a one-off.
I mean, it wasn't like they were doing anything different either. It just everything that they ran for Bijan and Bijan took advantage of. And it wasn't like Tyler Algier wasn't in the game a lot. There wasn't any different script to it. It just finally worked out. So that's the only thing that's like kind of worries me is like they didn't change anything other than the fact they played Carolina. That's about it. So I'm still not like jumping for joy, but I'm not mad either.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little mad. I mean, I'm glad he's there, but it's like, just come on. Like, we really.
I mean, as far as this week is concerned.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, overall in the season.
Overall, I'm pissed, but
come on. Who's not pissed? Well, maybe he's pissed just because he runs so freaking hard, man. Derrick Henry in the top 10 again. Absolutely killing it and proving everybody who laughed at someone who drafted him in the first round wrong. Derrick Henry, though, coming in with 25 points, 24 rush attempts for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, I feel like he just has just a parking spot in the top 10. I mean he's just going to be there because
when you're playing on the best offense. When you're now the way they are, you've seen he carried the ball. They gave him the ball like 14, 15 times week 1, a little bit more, and now he's at averaging 22 carries a game. And it's just a downhill, get out of our way. We're better than you, Baltimore offense. That you have to respect Derrick Henry and how they're scheming him, and obviously Lamar's legs, which then opens up. So now you have 2 weeks in a row that Lamar has passed for over 300 yards, while also Derrick Henry running for 132. So that is insane. Right now it's weird that Henry and Lamar are like 1A, 1B as far as MVP of the league, and Derrick Henry is on his way to being a league winner for a lot of people right now.
Yeah. I mean, can you count Henry as a comeback player?
No.
I mean, man, because
who's gonna get the award? His agent?
Yeah. That is a real winner. Wasn't he injured though last year?
I mean, he was he was banged up, but
he was banged up.
The Tennessee Titans just sucked.
Yeah. I mean, I know he didn't get like a ton of playing time.
No.
But okay, so on the year, 2 NFL teams have over 1,000 yards rushing, right? So the Ravens obviously is one. Who is the other?
Would it be Washington?
No. Washington has 944 yards.
I knew they were close. Wouldn't be the Bills.
No, Bills are actually way down.
I know Bills are way down. Is it the Lions?
Nope.
Damn.
Lions are at
with that 2-headed monster, I figured.
I mean, you're gonna love it just because you got one of them on your team. It's the Packers.
See, this is bullshit. Okay, 1 touchdown, 1,000 yards. Josh.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs is. I'm like, he's doing exactly what I'm expecting him to do, except for the 6 points.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. They got 1,003 yards compared to the Ravens 1,232. Ravens have 10 rushing touchdowns, but the Packers only have 3. So I mean, they're just either not scoring in the red zone, or they're just scoring outside of it, or just getting the pass plays in. But and maybe Love's running a little bit more in, but that should still count for rushing period, even if it's with the quarterback. So he's got 1/3 of the rushing touchdowns on the year for them. I mean, that's got to be good. It's gonna make you feel good, but that does mean that they got a good rushing attack, right? So even if you have Josh Jacobs,
that's what I'm saying. I'm not too worried about it because he's getting those carries. It's just they just happen to give it to Jaden Reed and Romeo Dobbs because he was pissed off over the whatever and Christian Watson. So like the receiving core is too good that it just happens to be how it works out.
Yeah. And really, I mean, if the passing game is working, just keep with it because usually the run is to establish the pass. And that also hopefully keeps them a little bit fresh. So then that way, whenever they really need to rely on the run in the playoffs, whenever you have to run a little bit more when it's colder, that ball's a little bit harder, then they'll be a little bit fresher and ready for it. But who didn't have to worry about the cold when he was in LA, but he has to do a little bit in that dome in Detroit. His Jared Goff.
Well, he did it in Dallas. We can move on. He did really well.
No, he did amazing. 25 points, 3 rush attempts. What? For 5 yards. But really the big thing is 18 pass completions on 25 attempts for 315 yards and 3 touchdowns in that 47 to, I can't read. Is that 10? What is that number? What is that? Is that a 0? What is that? Josh, I can't read. I can't. What was this? What was that score? Oh, okay.
Oh, was I frozen? Did I miss what
Yeah,
you said?
yeah.
Did you say something?
Yeah, you had Soul's connection.
Okay. Yeah. So we were talking about Brock Purdy, right?
No, not yet. But yeah, no, 47-9. In that,
It was so bad.
Dude. Yeah,
It was so bad.
yeah, that was terrible.
And it was Detroit was just so pissed because of that weird ineligible, like tackle eligible lineman that they did last year. Yep. And so the Dallas ended up winning the game on some BS thing because they didn't hear him say it or whatever. And they tried to do it like they tried to do it with one lineman. They tried to do it with Penei Sewell. Then they run a weird flea flicker to. I mean, they were just pulling out everything and saying, "Fuck you, Dallas." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm feeling it." I mean, they just whipped it out right on the table and said, "Deal with it."
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good that they just want to get it on the tape, so when it comes to the playoffs, they can say, "Nope, you called it this way early on. Right, you got to stick with it." But no, Jared Goff, good showing out there.
On the bench, but it didn't matter.
Yeah. Unfortunately, against your team, but I mean, another one. I mean, we'll get to Brock Purdy as well as the other quarterbacks. Brock Purdy getting 24 points. Excuse me, 4 rush attempts for 19 yards. But 18 for 28 passing, 255 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I think it's his first time being in the top 10 overall. Of course, we look at the quarterback top 10, sitting at 26 minutes. Quarterback top 10, he's number 5. Following him is Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, Bo Nix. Oh my gosh, Derek May? I can't remember. Drake, thank you. Drake May. And then Daniels, Jaden Daniels. So I mean, quarterback top 10, Goff, Purdy, Fields, Hurts, Nix, May, Daniels. What are your thoughts on those gentlemen?
Fields, I started him. It still worked out, but it wasn't because of his.
You must have watched that intro.
Yeah. It wasn't because of his. It was always because of his legs. And they're playing the Raiders, so. It depends on matchups. I'm probably going to start Jared Goff next game, just how it works. And the reason Jared Goff is such a up and down starter is because they do have a 2-headed monster. Like they have. I know the Packers have for over 1,000 yards rushing, but the outside of Baltimore, to me, that is the best rushing attack in football because they have the best line, and Gibbs and Montgomery are playing real well right now, obviously barring injury. So that's the only thing that worries me about Goff. But I mean, every one of their wide receivers had over 50 yards except for Amon-Ra St. Brown. That was insane stat. So, Jalen Hurts, you finally got your 2 wide receivers back. So therefore you're back in the top 10, but your team still looks like garbage compared to what they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Other than that, like I said, Drake May, garbage time, but well done on your NFL debut. Bo Nix is coming into form-ish as far as fantasy. I mean, the dude had 61 yards rushing, so that helps. And but those are like the outliers. I mean, obviously, Goff, Mayfield, Purdy, Love, Daniels. I don't expect them to go anywhere. But if you're thinking about like Bo Nix, as far as like stash, the way it's going, possibly. But I'm not touching Drake May unless I'm in like some weird 14-team league or something.
Yeah, I'm not in Dynasty League at that.
But I'm not touching Drake May. We got Bo Nix and CJ Stroud. We're fine.
Well, we need more than that.
I'm aware.
I haven't even looked at our score. So did we lose again?
Yeah, we lost by like 10, like we always do. Like we're always like right there.
Oh God!
Yeah,
even with our guys having a good week. Yeah, go figure.
It's because we had Brian Robinson and he was like he got ruled out like day of, and I'm like,
But Oh, sorry, excuse me. Shoot. Damn, long day, folks. I apologize. Probably should be drinking a Red Bull instead of a beer. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, Daniels. I mean, he has definitely solidified himself as being in the top 10.
And after that game against Baltimore, nothing. I mean, I figured it'd be kind of like that, and you can just tell Baltimore was just better than they like. It was just they just have a better team. That's just flat out it. But Daniels looked the part through and through. McLaurin is that guy when he has a good quarterback. They were without Brian Robinson. This is a playoff team. So if you have a commander on your team, you're feeling good about it because Jaden Daniels is going to make everyone is going to make defenses. What's the word? My brain is dead. Honest.
Scared?
No, not scared. They're going to make them honest. That you can't. It's like, you're going to put 7 guys. You can't. If you stack the box, he's going to beat you with his arm with Terry McLaurin. If you don't stack the box, Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, even Jeremy McNichols, they're going to do that. So if I have a commander, obviously of like the Brian Robinson, Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, no, I like it. And looking at just passing overall, I mean, because we're week 6 now. Guess who is the number 1 passing yards team with 1,778 yards, 6 touchdowns, but also 6 interceptions.
Oh, I mean, it's got to be Baker, right? He freaking threw 3.
Nope.
But they lead the league in passing?
Yeah, according to NFL.com. Maybe this isn't this week's updated stats, but
yeah, because Baker threw for a gajillion
Seattle
yards.
Seahawks.
Okay, I can see that. Like their first early weeks, he was slinging the ball all over the place, and then these past couple weeks, they've been trash.
Yeah. But I mean, just kind of seeing that is just kind of wait, that's an outlier. But yeah, Seattle's number 1, Texans number 2, Cowboys number 3. Then you got the 49ers, Falcons, Bengals, Ravens, and then Bucks coming in at 1,489 yards. But whatever you like, kind of look at it for touchdowns, that's where the disparaging difference is. Then you got the Buccaneers with 15, the Packers with 14. You got the Bengals in there with 12. I mean,
that's better. But other than this week against the Giants, they've been scoring. I mean, Burrow's been throwing for.
First 2 weeks were kind of rough too.
Right, but he even in losses, he was throwing for 330 and 3. Burrow was, like I said, this past weekend was just the Giants' defense is solid. Burrow made the right plays. I mean, he ran for a long touchdown. But other than that, they just held on against the Giants.
Yeah, but then you also got the Vikings, Texans. Another kind of surprise is the Colts. Of course, you got Flacco stepping in and winning 2 or 3 games.
Those a beautiful spiral. Never know where, even when it's to the other team, still beautiful.
Yeah, God, great looking interception. Said nobody ever. But yeah, just looking at kind of the top teams, those may be offenses you want to target, y'all. And where you are coming into the kind of apocalypse area. So definitely be looking at some of the backups in case of injuries. Be looking at your schedules and adjusting accordingly for those that are on bye. But we'll get to bye weeks here in a second. But real quick, running backs and wide receivers. So we're looking at Sean Tucker, again, number 1. Filling in for Rachaad White. You also had Bucky Irving there, kind of with him in tandem. But Tucker getting the bulk of the touchdowns, getting a passing and receiving and a rushing touchdown. Then you also had Joe Mixon, B.J. Robinson. I know it's Bijan, but I like B.J. The Derrick Henry, but Tracy, right? So let's talk about Tracy a little bit. You mentioned him earlier. Of course, he's coming in. God dang, who is he filling in for? Good God.
Devin Singletary,
yeah. So Tracy getting 23 fantasy points there in the loss, the 7-17 loss against Cincinnati. Yeah. Getting their sole touchdown because he had 17 rushing attempts for 50 yards, 1 touchdown. But they also have 6 receptions on 6 targets for 57. Right. So again, full PPR, that's going to matter. I mean, what is it looking for, Tracy? Right?
I mean, I pick him up. I don't know why. Yeah, just at this point, I would target him because I don't know what timetable. I'll go over the injuries, but I mean, his first full workload against Seattle, he had 14. This week, he had 22. He plays Philly next week. That defense is off and on, but he's the main guy there. And he's thrown, like you said, and plus, if Malik Neighbors comes back next week, I'm still going to pick him up. Like, running backs are few and far between if they have production. It's not like I'm going out there and grabbing Rico Dowdle because they're probably not going to pass the ball anymore. I mean, they're probably going to run the ball anymore. And, nobody for like the Browns or something like that. But I'll definitely take a stab at Tracy because he's been consistent the past 2 starts that he's had. And and if you have this consistent start, they're not going to try and rush back Devin Singletary if they don't have to.
Yeah. No, he's been injured for a couple of weeks now. He didn't play in week 5 against the Seahawks. So definitely be paying attention to the injury reports there as far as for that. But yeah, Tracy. I mean, until then, good pickup, and he proved exactly why in scoring 25 points or 23 points for you. Then you also got a DeAndre Swift. You got David Montgomery, right? New recipient of a contract, probably much to the chagrin of Gibbs and Gibbs owners. Kenneth Walker the third, and Najee Harris. And then rounding out the top 10 for running backs is Tyler Algier. Which of those stick out to you, bud?
I mean, the fact that Bijan and Tyler Algier can exist and still be in the top 10.
Yeah. Not wrong.
That's kind of why you didn't see Darnell Mooney do anything this week. Drake London did do fine. I think he didn't. Like, he did fine. But it was Bijan and Tyler. I mean, Tyler, he had a touchdown. Bijan had 2, so that's on reason. But I mean, Bijan literally was a touchdown that separated the scores.
Mm-hmm.
One had 26, one had 20. That's what aggravates me as a Bijan owner because I figured, he would. But you kind of have the same thing with Breece Hall. Braylon Allen, he's good. Tyler Algier, he's good. They're not going to keep them on the sidelines just because people love their other 2 backs in fantasy. Like, they're playing to win the game. So it's just something you're going to have to deal with and hope that this happens for Bijan and Breece going forward. Because Breece is having a good game. Just no touchdowns. He really ran the ball for like 40 yards to the 1, got tackled. Because that is fantasy football in a nutshell.
Yeah. Sorry, I was too busy dropping Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah, that
guy.
You know how I want to sound like Jordan Bedford from like I don't count my losers because I don't or something like that because I don't tell you all about my winners because I have too many of them. Whole thing. Well, let me tell you about a loss that I had. Dalton Kincaid. I was wrong. Should have just stuck with Brock Bowers. Didn't matter what team he was on.
Oh man, yeah. But hey, I mean that's all right. We can't get them all right. But for some reason the Bills. I mean, even with their at times high-powered offense tonight, not so much. Only getting 23 points against the Jets. But you talk about Breece Hall and his adversary of a co-running back, at least for Breece Hall owners. Taking all of some of his work there.
You went quiet. You muted yourself somehow on the video. I don't know why. Still muted. Don't know what's going on. Maybe it flipped off your audio for some reason from your microphone. I know that's happened sometimes. Nope. I have to check the audio setting. No.
That was weird. Okay.
Yep. You're back now.
All right,
that sometimes happens. Like it flips over your audio sometimes when it's screwed up like that. I don't know.
Well, I know when we use other programs, it'll pull it, but that was weird because there was a light flicker. So maybe power surge, and then it just triggered. But
okay, that could have been it.
Yeah. Anyways, So let's wrap up with some wide receivers, and we can hit on some tight ends as well, and kind of throw that in lump. But we know Godwin and Brown are great, and they're going to be there. McLaurin is definitely now very capable thanks to that new high-powered offense with fucking A. I can't remember his name. Starts with a K.
You talking about the Commanders with Jaden Daniels?
Yeah. But the offensive coordinator.
Oh,
Former Texas Tech head coach, Arizona.
yep. You keep going. I'll figure it out.
No, anyways, that guy. He's pretty good. Starts with the K. But you got Zay Flowers, Gabe Davis. Who is that guy?
I was waiting for you to get to him.
I feel like I should drop everything and pick his ass up right now.
You hurt me once. You hurt me one too many times, man. You're too toxic.
Dude, oh my God. Yeah, we've had
Cliff
the
Kingsbury.
Cliff
That's
Kingsbury,
the guy.
thank you.
I didn't look it up at all.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't.
Yeah, we saw that flash in your eye. But yeah, no. Gabe Davis, definitely tumultuous relationship. He's not going to be there forever, guys. Don't count your chickens on him. Demario Douglas, new name, new face, coming out there the Patriots camp. We'll see about him. But Keenan Allen, welcome back, bud. Incredible, great receiver, just never on a great team. And then of course Deebo Samuel, and then Romeo Dobbs, and rounding out with Deontay Johnson. They're with the Carolina Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Wide receivers, man. I mean, what are the surprises, and who is going to be here next week?
Obviously Demario Douglas. It just depends on the matchup. I still don't really trust the Patriots. I don't care. But it's just garbage time. So if they get behind, get game script wise, and they have to do what they did this time, then maybe. But I don't see this as being like, I got to go out and get Demario Douglas. No, I'm not doing that. Definitely not Gabe Davis. Sorry, not doing that. Everyone else, fine. Romeo Dobbs, I know is not picked up, but it's just hard to figure out which Packers wide receiver not named Jaden Reed is going to go off. Because that's the reason I've targeted Jaden Reed in that offense. He's not going to be the, like a one-of-one type of like CeeDee Lamb type or Malik Neighbors or a Terry McLaurin of like or maybe even Zay Flowers. Like Rashad Bateman's getting a little bit more in the offense, but Zay Flowers is still that one-of-one guy that Lamar is going to target. Whereas Romeo still has to deal with Jaden Reed and Christian Watkins and even Katarius Hicks. So it's just tough, and that's why he was pissed off and they're thinking that he went off this game. Maybe they're probably they might trade Romeo Dobbs when it's all said and done. Who knows? Because it's getting up to that trade deadline. So I doubt it. I doubt they're going to trade him or do anything else because this game seemed well, and winning cures everything, especially when you had 2 touchdowns. So I don't expect of the guys that I see in free agent wise, I would circle Romeo as a flex play, especially going into Bipocalypse. I would roster him, not the other 2.
Yep, I like that. I'm jumping to tight ends, and then I got a pretty good analysis question to ask you. But like you mentioned him earlier, Cole Kmet, probably still free agent on quite a bit of waiver wires there for Chicago. Of course, this was a spike in his production as far as getting 24 points. He got 5 receptions on 5 targets for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is an amazing game for a tight end in 2024. Oh my God, is that counted as an interception?
Yeah.
Oh, brother, that's a hell of a catch right there.
It was a bad throw by Aaron.
Yeah. But no, coming in, George Skittle Kittle. Because he's been tasting that rainbow all year long, man, being the number 1 tight end on the year, getting 23 points against the Seattle Seahawks, 5 completions on 6 attempts for 58 yards and 2 touchdowns himself. Then you come out, you got Evan Ingram, you got Trent McBride, you got Bowers, Andrews, Hunter Henry, not Derrick Henry, Noah Fant, Laporta, and Ertz, rounding out the top 10 for tight ends. What do you think about the rest, right? So top 2 getting 24, 23. Everything else is pretty much at 18, 16, and going down to 11.
I like Evan Ingram. I really like Evan Ingram. As far because like I said, if your name's not Brock Bauer or George Kittle at this point, because Dallas Goedert got hurt. So, if you're not those two guys, there's just not that consistency because Isaiah Likely is still out there. It just so happens that Lamar was trying to get Mark Andrews a touchdown this game, and he played back to his form this game. But the other ones, I mean, Laporta's Laporta. You're not gonna drop him. Don't drop him. If you ever drop him, you're done. But Trey McBride has one touchdown on the year, and it was a fumble recovery in the end zone. But dude gets his targets, and with Marvin Harrison out, it's only going to be so. That's why I like McBride all season. I still like McBride because dude gets his targets, and that's something that Dalton Kincaid just doesn't get anymore. And Cole Kmet, like I said, he's going into a bye, so if you want to stash him, you can. But I don't know. Once I find my tight end, I have somebody else to drop to pick up another tight end instead of having a stash tight end because everyone else sucks if you're not like a consistent top 5 guy. And then like Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, George Kittle. Mark Andrews is available in our league. We'll see who picks him up. And Jake Ferguson, for that game script, did diddly poo. And it made no sense to me. I don't see that being a bad thing. I don't see that being an issue going forward as far as who isn't in here. But yeah, did I reach my Brock Bowers quota or good?
Yeah, no, you're good. My mic is not good. They did the same shit again. Yeah. We'll count that as the quota. But I mean, we really don't have any other tight ends to talk about, man.
No,
Bowers. Bowers is one of the best.
Bowers and Kittle.
Yeah,
now the Kittle's. Yep, that's it.
Yep. Well, and looking at the top tight ends on the year, you got George Kittle coming in 86 overall fantasy points. Again, full PPR. You got Bowers coming in with 83. Then after that, you do have Cole Kmet coming in 73. Trey McBride 61. Tucker Kraft coming in at 59.
He laid an egg this week.
Yeah. No, he definitely did. 350, which sounds like a Dalton Kincaid score. Isaiah Likely coming in with 57. Of course, 26.1 of that being in the first week. But he had 16 points against Cincinnati, so apparently against playoff teams, he was decent. But yeah, then you got Goddard, Freiermuth, Pitts, Ferguson, Henry, all of them within right around 50. But so yeah, so I mean it's a pretty steep cliff in that regard, but yeah, definitely something worth to look at. I mean, I don't know. I feel like at this point, I don't care if I don't even have a tight end next week because I didn't have one this week.
Yeah,
and I had him in, and he didn't do shit. But yeah, okay. So that's for tight ends. I got this fun little stat because looking at the scores for this week, one of the top producing offenses was the Houston Texans, getting 41 points. How many of them were in the top 10 though? Even in their individual positions, we only had Joe Mixon, right? And it's just because everybody's just outside of it. They've spread the ball that much. So you had Joe Mixon getting 27 points, but you had Diggs with 20, Stroud with 19, Tank Dell 19, the defense getting 15, Pierce, the second running back getting 15.
Damon Pierce.
The kicker, Fairbairn getting 11. Schultz, the tight end, getting 7. I mean, they spread the ball around where everybody got to eat a little bit. So even if you don't see them in the top 10, don't base your pickup decisions or your lineup decisions on that alone. I mean, have that be a little bit of a factor. But this is really just kind of the top producing because whenever you start to get around 20 points, you're going to have 10, 20 other players that got around there. So don't think just because your player is not in the top 10 that you're not winning your week or your player is not doing that well. I thought that was kind of interesting. You would have thought 41 points, they would have had 4 or 5 people in there, but it was pretty spread out though. So
yeah, like I said, even with the Detroit Lions, like Sam Laporta, I think was the only one that was and Jared Goff, but I mean they were the only ones in the top 10 because you had. Like I said, everybody except for Amon-Ra St. Brown, who did get a touchdown, but they all had like right around 50 yards, except for Amon Ra. So you just had those things going on.
Dude, if it's not my camera, it's my fucking mic. I got a ghost in the machine, so I think I may go find some sage here after the show and smoke the shit out of my computer.
This episode is brought to you by technical difficulties.
Yeah. Well, and even though they're not technical difficulties, they are physical difficulties, and we're talking about injuries, man.
Yeah.
I know I felt them this week on my own side, which really cost me the game against some douchebag named Giff. Congratulations, Giff. I think he got like 180 points. I mean, he murdered me. I mean, even with my guys were not injured, he would have whooped my ass.
It's Oklahoma crime. See Joe Mixon.
Yeah, Mixon. Oh, yeah. But yeah, bud. I mean, what you got for injuries?
So we've got Marvin Harrison Jr. Coach Gannon confirmed Monday that Harrison suffered a concussion, and so he's been obviously evaluated on that. Jerome Ford, hamstring, is considered week to week for that. Brandon Cooks got placed on injured reserve. Obviously, this was said last week, but again, Tolbert is a good person to pick up when Dallas doesn't get run off their own field with the worst home loss that they've ever had in that new stadium. Good job, Jerry. Nico Collins was placed on injured reserve. That sucks. But hey, he went off with a 62-yard bang before he touchdown. So got that. Travis Etienne is Doug Peterson says he is week to week. So not day to day, week to week. So shout out to Tank Bigsby. You're up, bud. Rashid Rice finally was deemed season ending with his surgery there. Cooper Kupp, it has a workout scheduled with trainers Monday, but his status for Sunday's game against the Raiders is yet to be determined. Tua will be back this coming week. So Tua, don't die. That being said, don't die. Give Achane the ball, who did suffer a concussion a week before. Obviously, they were in a bye week this past week. But you Tyreek Hill owners, your Jalen Waddle owners,
your Miami fans, and
your Miami fans in general.
Yeah,
I know you won a game against the Patriots, and you're still good. But if Tua, you only go as Tua goes, apparently, for what we see.
So you can't go Tua far.
Yeah. We're gonna be here all night, folks. Be sure to tip your waitress.
God.
And Rashid Shaheed was listed as a non-participant at Monday's practice. He's getting his knee checked out to determine the severity of the injury. Sustained in the fourth quarter. Obviously, Chris Olave got a concussion. Was listed as a non-participant. Monday's practice report. And Tajay Spears, running back for the Titans, had a hamstring. Is considered week to week as well. So Tony Pollard, you're getting the bulk of the carries and focusing on another running back. I mean, that team is a dumpster fire anyway. So, but yeah, I just let me look back at the other ones. Zamir White's still out. Devontae Adams, I'm thinking he's probably not. They're probably going to play him until they trade him. I just don't know that there. Xavier Legette digging in the end zone, so you got that going for you. But no, just Olave is yet to get off the schneid. I don't know what's going on with Olave. This isn't working. I don't know. It's just he's not playing what I'm thinking he's supposed to play, and it's just infuriating knowing how good he was last year in a worse offense. And it's just Rashid Shaheed, Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, and Juwan Johnson and a bunch of other guys. Taysom Hill's hurt. I'm not going to dance on anybody's grave on that one. As long as he's
the best tight end ever.
All right, well, that's the show, folks. It's been fun.
Hey, with my camera mic issues, I'll call it now too. No. Yeah. Like I said, Tank Bigsby. I love that, because picking him up, he really hasn't done a whole lot.
The best my guy ever, Tank Bigsby. If everybody knows that episode of the Fantasy Footballers where they were playing a prank on being Tank Bigsby being one of my guys, and now they're all trying to claim him.
Yep.
He's done
Yeah,
pretty well.
and it's so good that they actually tricked one of their wives into drafting him.
No, it was some other guy and he wrote into the show saying that. So whether or not it's a true story, I don't know, but it's still be hilarious if that's what happened.
No, actually, one of their wives.
Oh, I thought some guy
Tank.
wrote in and said one of their wives listen to it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, you may be right on that one, but yeah, it was somebody's wife.
Yeah,
watched the episode and took that as a fact.
Drafted Tank Bigsby like number 6 overall in the first round or something.
Hey, it's paying off next week, hopefully.
Yeah, there you go. It only took you 7 weeks. You finally paid off for that number 1 spot. Hey, but guess what? He's scoring more points than Christian McCaffrey, and he was taking 1-1 in most leagues.
Ooh, boy, yeah, he was 102 in ours for some odd reason.
Jordan Mason. Did I not put that in the freaking word?
You did not, but while you look that up, Chris the GIF, yes, he came in second. Okay, my bad. I apologize. I did not mean to inappropriately promote you. I will never speak anything glowingly of you ever again. So thank you for reminding me of that, bud.
Sported a non-contact injury. He's listed as questionable as of right now. Jordan Mason is.
Oh my God, yeah.
If you're looking for someone to pick up, it was Isaac Guerrero for San Francisco. Okay. He was the one that he had 99 yards and one huge run and got caught from behind at like the 2. So if you're looking for a spot start for San Francisco, if Jordan Mason gets ruled out, pick up Isaac Guerrero. The hate fuels me.
Yeah.
All right, Darth Vader.
Yeah. No, we'd like that GIF. Yeah. I mean, another rough week, man. Another rough week injury-wise. We joked about it before the show because we have our running list of injuries. And, it's just getting longer and longer.
It happens every year. It just feels, for some reason, it just depends on if it impacts you. I've been in a bunch of our 72 leagues. There's a lot of teams that already switched their team name to Team IR because of just because it's all the big stars, like concussions,
like that.
They get dinged up. They're out 1 week, out a couple weeks. It's whatever. But you have these like big stars is like Cooper Kupp, Christian McCaffrey, never seen the field. Tyreek Hill is injured because his offense is inept. It's not really injured, but you get what I'm saying. Like these guys that you're expecting your backbone to at least set your, all right, he's going to do his thing. As long as these other guys I can fill in to get, some points here, some points there. If I started the right people, then you're good. Like a Bijan or a Brees, and they're just underwhelming compared to what we were expecting them to be. Whereas Derrick Henry, obviously, he's doing what he's doing. I don't think we made too much fun of it. I just didn't know how long he'd last. And it looks like when he did that 187-yard touchdown run against the Bills, and he was clocked like 0.1 mile per hour slower than Xavier Worthy, I'm like, you can't, no. I want to know what undisclosed steroids can pass a piss test that he's taken. He's not, obviously, allegedly, but that's just the joke. Because just like, there's no way at 30 years old, you're just a specimen of all specimens. And you're on a team with another specimen. So it's like the Baltimore Species at this point. If anybody knows that movie, that's what I'm trying to bring up.
Talking about Species, the movie?
Yeah.
Species 1 and 2?
Yeah.
I like it. But yeah, we also we got a completion. We got a game finalized now. Insanely high scoring second half. The Buffalo Bills topped the New York Jets 23-20 with a total of 6 points scored in the second half. So glad we tuned in to watch that. That was great. But yeah, really nothing of major note. As far as that game, Josh Allen 215 yards for 2 touchdowns. Rodgers 294 yards and 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Ray Davis was the top rusher for the Buffalo Bills with 97 yards, no TD. Breece Hall got 113 yards, but no touchdown. Ray Davis was also the number 1 receiver with 3 receptions for 55 yards, while Allen Lazard, as you mentioned, I think before the broadcast, getting the 1 touchdown off of a Hail Mary 6 receptions for 114 yards. So
Garrett Wilson wasn't bad either.
okay, what did he get on that one? This
8 for 10, 107 and a touchdown.
Yeah.
So Garrett wasn't too bad either.
Yeah. I mean, really, at this point, anytime your receiver or your player gets 15 to 20 points, count your stars because you're lucky. I mean, this year I feel like I haven't seen this many sub 10 scores. If any of my players are getting 10 points, I'm like, okay, I don't hate you, but I don't love you. But, I mean, this week, with the injuries and then just the subpar performances from Kincaid and others, it was rough, man. I mean, my kicker was my was my leading scorer, and he got 17 points. But leading scorer behind Baker Mayfield and A.J. Brown. That shouldn't happen, folks. It's pretty sad. That is pretty sad, especially with the roster I got.
I'll never do this again because I forgot to take out Brian Robinson, and Mike Gesicki got 0 points, and I still had the third highest score. It's just one of those things of like it just happened that way. Jason, Bud, you need to call into the show. We need to group together and figure this thing out because I finally got to 2 wins and you're falling to 1 and 5. We've got to figure this shit out. We gotta get our genius minds together, being defending champions, and figure this shit out.
All right, easy there, Rain Man.
There was 300.
That's like getting Rain Man and radio together.
It's 316 toothpicks, guys. Okay.
Yeah. We go full.
Well, we're okay.
No, I mean you got a good win though. Beating someone who only scored 59 points. I
would have beaten everyone else except for 2 people who had 170 points each.
Jesus, yeah, 176 and 170. Yeah,
GIF. Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we were talking about.
Hold on, let me because this is what happens when you're in 27 leagues. You forget who's all on everyone else's team. That'll do it.
Yeah, having Jalen Hurts. Gibbs, even though it shows it as a subpar performance, still 12 points, which is good. Joe Mixon, crushed. Diggs as well. He's got Bowers, Zay Flowers. I don't know if Tucker, Green Bay defense. I don't know if I'm reading the top 10 or if I'm reading somebody's roster. But,
both of them.
Yeah, both of that, right? Should have played Tank Dell, but missed on that one, sucker. Sucks to suck, huh?
How did you start CeeDee Lamb over Tank Dell? How would you do that? Why?
you know now not to. Hey, there we go. We got a question from Dirty Money. Good to see you again, bud. Trade away Evans for Olave and Pittman? Whew, man. As an Evans and Olave owner, that's a rough consideration. Both of them haven't really been that great. Pittman,
Anthony. I'll put it right now. Anthony Richardson's coming back next week.
Yeah,
when Anthony Richardson's on the field, they suck.
Well, and apparently he's questionably injured. So if maybe if somebody plays, he will call himself injured. But I guess the quote is that if he gets separation, then he won't go on IR.
Yeah, Evans I like the trade. I just don't like the positions that Olave and Pittman are in right now compared to what Evans can still do. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing. But as far as like to get 2 for 1, I would do that all day of the week, except the way those like Pittman just came off a really good week. So if you can, that's definitely where I would throw that in there. But I just don't know how much you're going to get this Pittman for the rest of the season because they're going to try and force Anthony Richardson down our throat, not Joe Flacco, who's obviously the better quarterback right now to make that offense go. And Olave just got concussed, and he hasn't been very good all season long anyway. So even if he comes back, Derek Carr, who knows who's going to come back, who knows how good Spencer Rattler is going to be once he settles in. It's just too many questions with Olave and Pittman when I know what I'm getting out of Evans. So it's kind of a coin flip to me. I would stick with, as far as this week is concerned, I would stick with Evans. It just depends on how desperate you are. I would try and get someone throw someone else other than Olave in there because Olave's been so underwhelming this year.
Yeah, Mike Evans probably after this week's performance could be, kind of a trade low kind of candidate. But I mean, you got to look at the rest of the year, and I'm an Evans owner, at least in one of the leagues, and so he got 23.1, 7 points, 3 points, 23, 5. So you're going to have these big swings, unfortunately, with him this year. That's because Godwin is just taking all of the freaking attention. So I mean, clearly him and Baker and him have a strong connection, or maybe it's just schematics wise as far as the game where people are scheming against Evans and taking out him as one of the primary.
Yeah, it's just a really good question. Just because Olave and Pittman are just not in good situations where Evans is, and it's not like Evans forgot how to play the game. So
yeah, I would hold fast on that.
Yeah.
Maybe look at Evans more of a flex on certain matchups. So looking at it against Washington, he got 23. Against Philadelphia, he got 23. And Atlanta, 23. So those really, Washington has a decent defense, but yeah, coming up, they got Baltimore. They have Atlanta again. So there may be another 20, burger there. They got Kansas City, then San Francisco, and then a bye week. So I think the next few weeks is definitely going to be more proving as to if you should keep or ship him for that playoff run, right? Because, after, week 10, that's where you really start looking at who you're going to hold on to and who you're going to trade for to be advantageous for that playoff sequence. But,
yep.
Yeah, good question. That is a tough one, man.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I wish I could be more clarity with you, but it's just one player is in a very good spot. He just happens to he's the best receiver on the team. It's just scheming to where Godwin's getting more of the targets because they're putting Godwin in more of the slot role. But I just like Evans' ceiling is way bigger than those two. Even his floor I like better than those two. So, but 2 for 1, it's hard to pass up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the value of having that extra empty spot. But Antonio Lopez, welcome to the show. Make sure you like and subscribe, bud. I'm 2-4 of my roster is Alan Kyron.
He's 2 and 4 on the season.
Oh, 2 and 4 on the season. Okay, all right. Sorry, I can't read without punctuation.
It took me a second. I was reading his comment as you were like doing your. I was like, "What does it mean?" Oh, okay, 2 and 4. Okay.
Yep. No, my roster is Alan Kyron, Chase Brown, Jamar, Tyreek, Kincaid, Dell, Adunze, Warren, Dubs, and Wicks. What moves should I make, or do I just sit with my teams?
Kincaid, you can move.
Immediately. Don't even pick up somebody. Just drop his ass, dude.
I'll give you an example. Who was a tight end that scored a touchdown for the Bills tonight? Wasn't Kincaid.
Mm-hmm.
It was Dawson Knox.
Yep.
I like Ndunze going forward
until
they get to that real crazy stretch, but I just feel like at that point he's going to shake off the rookie in the game speed. Because that's when you really see those rookie wide receivers that haven't, not like Malik Neighbors or something like that, but that's typically when you see rookies really start settling into the speed of the game of the system that they're in and really start to perform. And if you looked at this past week in the game tape that I saw, Adunze was open and was running great routes. So I like Adunze going forward. With that, Tank Dell, it depends on with Nico being out. I really like that. Obviously he did well this week and I expect that going forward. Tyreek, like I said, you're going to know how they're going to be with Tyreek. You can either sell high for the fact that Tua's coming back, and then they still suck. So you can maybe get something out of that. I don't know who you could get. Are you talking about Jalen Warren? Which Warren are we talking about? I don't know which Warren. If you double check on that,
I was assuming, yeah.
Steelers. And then Wicks and Dobbs, aren't they on the same team? Like what? No, just move one of them.
Yep.
I would sell Dobbs high right now if you can. If you can move Dobbs, I would. You can probably sell him pretty high for somebody. Yeah. Okay. It's Jalen Warren. I don't. He's just now coming back, and Najee is running his ass off this year. So now Jalen's still going to get his carries and targets, but Najee is probably going to be somebody they're going to lean on because, for one thing, Justin Fields still can't throw the ball consistently enough.
Yeah. I would push back on your Dobbs and Wicks comment. Just because they're on the same team doesn't mean you can't have them. So, I mean, right now I got Shaheed and I have Olave. I am so glad to have Shaheed, even though he's, a little bit on the injured side as well. But whenever it comes into that playoff time, I mean, you'd rather have one of that too, especially with the Packers being the second highest producing, one of the top producing offenses. Of course, rushing, they're number 2 with 1,003. But yeah, before the passing, sorry, rank that again. Their passing, yeah, looks like they're 8th. So, with 1,455 yards, 14 touchdowns. So yeah, if you're, I think he's sitting pretty good with that team, decently.
Like I said,
all about your matchup, but
if you can go over the top 5 tight ends real quick.
Yeah, top 5 tight ends. We're going to be looking at Kittle, Bowers, Kmet, McBride, and Kraft. Got likely Goddard, Freiermuth, and Pitts.
If you want to spot start Kincaid this week, but pick up Cole Kmet and then drop Kincaid after this coming week, that'd be something you can do. I know you have a Dunze, and I know I just went back and forth about Dobbs and Wicks, but they're 2 different positions, not 2 wide receivers. The only reason I'm bringing that up, Antonio, and Tvshka disagrees with me, and he brings up a great point, it's just because I had Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp last year, and it was either one or the other. It was either feast or famine. And if you started both of them, one of them was basically going to be a 0, or like a 2. Like you were just low scoring. So I had to move off of them and Giff in the Giff's got Diggs and Tank, which works out because they're going to spread the ball around, which is why that's not a bad way to go. I just got burned last year, so I'm just not. And a lot of times I get burned too because I just don't know who to start. So it just causes me more frustration than being like, oh, I love my roster.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest setback to that situation is, trying to start one or the other. I would start Dobbs over Wicks, especially right now. But at the same, but Wicks being that contingency, and that's a pretty good offense right now.
Yeah, I was big on both of those guys coming into the season. Obviously, if you listen to our show, I drooled over Jalen Reed, and I was correct on that. And then because Christian Watson, he's hurt all the time. I mean, it is. He's finally got back. What happened? He scored a touchdown, but it wasn't without Jaden Reed still being the staple that, like, if he's the go-to guy, and they scheme him in other different plays. But Dobbs is sure-handed, and so is, Wicks has been dropping balls. It's a different story. But it's not like he's not running good routes or anything like that. So, but yeah, I mean, Giff's got in there in the comments. He's got Diggs and Tank, and I like both of them. But I mean, but Giff could have that same situation where he can move one of them and keep one of them, and maybe get a running back or something like that. I don't know what you can really get for Dobbs and Wicks if you want to move one of them.
Yeah. Also, a couple factors. Look at your league. Are you 10-person, or 8, 10, 12-person league? Yeah. That's going to kind of affect the depth of your waiver. And then also, if you're a full PPR, that's going to affect the ranking of, running back versus wide receiver. I mean, it's really been a kind of wide receiver heavy year as far as, kind of production and point values. But also at the same time, we're getting into the thick of it, and there are a lot of wide receiver injuries, really just injuries overall. But yeah, man, we appreciate that question. I mean, we're kind of talking about injuries. We're talking about, who you keep and who you get rid of. Josh, I mean, we got a little bit of the segment called Love. Love or leave it? I can't remember what I made the graphic.
Love or let go.
Love or let go, bud. What are we going to do on this one, man?
We are going to love certain offenses, but we're going to let go a player that was been high on people's radar coming in, and I didn't really understand the hype around it. But people are like, well, for the value you can get. I said, but if it gives you no value, then what's the point of the value and that is Calvin Ridley. You can't get anything for him. You're probably better off dropping him and picking up a Wicks at this point. That offense is terrible. If I'm going to have anyone on that team, it's probably going to be Tony Pollard or DeAndre Hopkins, because Calvin Ridley, basically, he had 8 targets this game. In his post-game press conference, they said, "Oh, he had 8 targets." He goes, "When were they? I don't remember them." Like, so there's already trouble in River City with that. Now, that being said, Dobbs got suspended a game. People were like, "Oh, Dobbs," and then he comes out with 2 touchdowns. But there's a difference. One's a good offense. One's has Will Levis. The only I would let go, as far as you can't drop him because of the targets, but you also, it's hard to start him, and that is Amari Cooper. So you're hoping that the Browns move Amari Cooper, and you will be so happy, because you can't, you're stuck with him. You're stuck with him because you can't pass up on the targets. You're not, and as soon as you drop him, he is going to be picked up as soon as you hit click. And you can't move him because no one wants to deal with Deshaun Watson being forced down your throat. All you need is for someone to finally wake up and say, "Jameis, go out there and just throw for wherever and watch Amari Cooper be good again." It's insane of what Amari Cooper is getting target-wise. I think he's like top 10 in targets. We're fumbling, stumbling, but we're getting through the show.
Well, I thought maybe if I punched it, it would work better.
But you have to. I would. That's somebody that I would move away from. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Brian Thomas. That's what you're going to get from Brian. It's going to be, he's going to go off and then he's going to be dormant. That's just how it is. So I would still love Brian Thomas. I'm in a complicated relationship with the Miami Dolphins offense, but we'll see if they win. See if they give me flowers and chocolates and win me back this coming weekend. Yeah. On that, but they are in a very rocky. I'm in a very rocky relation. Complicated. It's complicated as hell on Facebook. All right, that's our status relation. That's our status for those. Yeah, I mean that's.
Our Dolphins fans in the chat aren't perking up on that.
It's just it is what it is on that. The thing is like,
man, that's all it is.
Yeah, I was in a hateful relationship with Garrett Wilson, but now I'm like, all right, well, okay, I'm okay with it. I'm fine. So yeah, Calvin, like of those guys, Calvin Ridley, anybody for the Titans really. And Amari Cooper, those are the 2 guys that people were like, "Oh, you get such good value for him," and I was like, I just don't buy it. And because Calvin sucked last year going into the end of the year, signs for all this money. Will Levis is terrible. So I just, those 2 are the ones that I would honestly, I don't love it. Is there any couple other guys that you're thinking of from that I can't think of off the top of my head?
Yeah. So I mean, you kind of talked about the Browns and the Dolphins. Those teams are barely over 1,000 yards passing. Mm-hmm. Below them are the Patriots, the Bills. The Bills are only 950, and again, maybe these aren't updated because of today's game, but even then, they only got 200 more. And then the Chargers and the Titans. I mean, so just kind of low production. Of course, the Bills have 8 touchdowns there as far as passing. But then you look on the rushing side of things, and like I said, I mean the Browns and the Browns and the Dolphins, right next to each other again. Yeah. 583 rushing, 584 rushing yards, and below them are the Seahawks, the Vikings, the Rams, the Raiders, the Cowboys, and the Jets. So. One that really sticks out to me, and I've kind of struggled, and I've even wavered, by picking him up and then wavering by dropping him as well, is Charbonnet, man. Zach Charbonnet with the Seattle Seahawks. One really good spike week of 25.7 against Miami. Started off with 12, 17, but then the last 3 games, 10, 6, and 4. So, unfortunately, seeing a steady decline. But it's also against, the Detroit Lions, the New York Giants, and the San Francisco 49ers. So, they play the Falcons, the Bills, and then the Rams coming up before their bye on week 10. But yeah, I mean, he's one I'm just kind of on the fence on as far as which way to go.
That's a weird one. I'm not a big Zach Charbonnet guy. Just because I'm a bit obviously I've been like zeroed in on Kenneth Walker coming out of college, and he's been a stud.
Yep.
And so Zach Charbonnet was more of just an enemy of taking carries away last year when they drafted Zach Charbonnet. And I'm like, no, Kenneth Walker's the guy. And Zach didn't do anything. And then Kenneth finally gets hurt, and Zach has one good week. And then after, I'm just like, but I still just didn't like the way he ran the ball or pass catching. I didn't buy it. And now that Kenneth Walker's back, you're going to go back to Zach Charbonnet just being, I hope to God you get a goal line carry, and that's not happening either. Kenneth Walker's getting those too. So that's the thing. It's like, and then the Miami Dolphins is a weird roster. That's the one roster that I was expecting, Tua to come out and throw for 4,000 yards, Tyreek Hill to be great, Waddle to get back to form, Achane to really step up. And then for the first couple of weeks, Achane was really good, and then Tua got hurt, and they went to becoming a dumpster fire. And I didn't buy into the Browns offense. I didn't buy into the Patriots offense. So like all these bottom teams, it wasn't because I brought them up to be like, oh, they move off these guys, but some of these guys still had, like Mari Cooper, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. I know I was talking about both of those teams, and I'm overloading it on like love or hate. It's just do I love or hate the Dolphins and the Browns? But it's just the thing of like, who did you focus in on? We knew going into the season, Dallas's running offense was going to be non-existent. Data was good for 1 week, and they're back to being shit again. And they're probably going to scheme it to where Dak's going to throw the ball 50 times a game, which is why I like CeeDee Lamb going forward. And then it's just you hate the fact that the Texans and the Packers and kind of even the Vikings, like they spread the ball, and the Lions, they spread the ball around. You hate that, but you still love anyone that you have. I mean, freaking Tim Patrick had a touchdown in like 55 yards.
Yep.
And he was cut by the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, Broncos. Yep. I think during the preseason.
Yeah, during the preseason.
Yeah,
he was cut, and the Lions were like, "Well, you took Josh Reynolds from us, so we'll take him back. We'll do it. We'll do a 1-for-1 and get this other cheaper guy."
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And then Jameson Williams and Laporta's finally getting there. So it's like, you love and hate these, and like it's same thing with Jamar Chase. You still have T. Higgins, but T. Higgins makes Jamar Chase go just as much as Joe Burrow. So you need T. Higgins on that field to make everyone honest about Jamar Chase. So that's another love-hate thing. I know I went on a tangent with a different side of how you can look at this, but if I can see where people will load up on a certain team. It sometimes works, but percentage-wise, it hardly ever does, because you really don't see someone's got to get the touchdowns, and you just don't know who it's going to be. But if your guy's getting his targets week in, week out on a team that spreads the ball around, you don't move them. So I love targets. I hate spreading the ball around.
Yeah. Well, I also think you're a little bit blinded on your team with the Cowboys. I do not think that they're going to be able to successfully pass the ball because they're so one-dimensional, because they cannot run the ball.
They did it all last.
They got rid of Pollard. Yeah, they got rid of Pollard, and Pollard has actually proved to be pretty decent there for Tennessee, even that in that inept offense. He could have been a lot better there in Dallas. So I think that's where they did it last year, but I don't think they're going to be able to do as much.
I know I'm biased to it, but I have too much faith in the skill set of CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I think it will increase, but I just don't think to that level. All right, real quick, man. Let's do like a shooting range, man. Let's do some quick fire, right? So
okay.
Shoot from the hip.
Yep.
Love or let go, Alexander Madison.
Like you gotta keep him because Amir White's out. But I would let go of the Raiders. Not named Brock Bowers. Not named Brock Bowers. Hold on. Hand up.
Yeah.
Not named Brock Bowers.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, at this point, I would much rather have their defense.
Well, it's just I would pick up at Alexander Madison if it was last call at the bar. Put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, Madison, this week came.
No, he was great.
Had a good game, 17.5 against Pittsburgh. Last week, got 10.10, then 6, 13.4, 6.10, 16.2. So, it's just kind of an up and down road that he's been on. But
he needs to be rostered. I just don't love him.
Yeah, and I don't think it's really much of his fault. He's got three touchdowns on the year, but it's his the attempts is where that is actually increasing. So started 5, 4, 3, 5, 15, and 14. So I don't love him. I like him, but for the sake of that, I would say love. I would say keep him on there. And see just how far that's going to go, but put him in your flex or have him as a reserve backup if somebody gets injured.
I'll put it this way. You won't love putting him in, but you won't hate it.
Yeah. This is one I do hate, and I would say let go. But let's see what you say. Zach Moss.
Yeah, Chase Brown's taking that role. I knew it was going to come into the season. It was only inevitable. Mm-hmm. If Chase Brown didn't fumble that ball towards the end of the game last night, and if thankfully it went out of bounds, but Chase definitely looked like the better back at the end of the day, and I expected that coming into the season. I thought Zach would be great for the first half. Well, guess what? We're getting that second half, and Chase Brown seems to be getting that role. So yes, I think
we're not even at the halfway point. This 17-week season. For each team, really 18 overall. So, and to look at it, 14.10, 5.7, 20.7, 17.8. Hey, pretty decent. But then 8.2 and then 0.5 against the Giants, man.
Yeah, I wonder what the percentage the percentage on the field is between those two for this past game. I don't know how to look that up.
Snap percentage.
Yeah, snap percentage.
Yeah. I guess it would really just be the counter. So 65, 80, 76, 60, 67, and then 45.
Yeah,
so,
see.
Yeah, so yesterday was 45%, assuming 55% is Chase. But yeah, so that's running backs. Let's look at a couple of wide receivers, right? So Wan'Dale Robinson, love or let go?
If you're in a full PPR, love him.
Yeah.
If you're not, let go.
I don't get the Giants, man. I don't trust them, but their offense for some reason is producing. Maybe Dan's just getting a little bit better there. I don't know, but yeah, for Wan'Dale, we even started off decent: 11.8, 9.8, 13.10, 18.10, 16.10. He's been pretty steady.
He gets his targets. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like in a full PPR. I like him, but in a non PPR, he doesn't get a lot of yards. He gets a lot of catches. So that's the only thing that's why I'm indifferent on Wan'Dale. It just depends on the situation. Full PPR, yes, you need to have Wan'Dale rostered.
I know it's just because I'm in that situation, but I think this is a pretty hot question. Wan'Dale Robinson. Or Marvin Harrison. Do you drop Marvin Harrison at this point?
Not in a 10-team league.
You know what I mean? It's a big name. It's been, it's 6 weeks in, right? A little bit of sample size, but still, there's a lot of football left. A lot of football for them to get.
And I said that at the top of the show.
Yeah.
I would still stick with Marvin.
That sucks, right?
Because he just that as soon as you
I wish you would go on IR just so I could have a spot.
Something because you can't. Yeah, that's the biggest. That's why I said at the top of the show because that's the first thing that came to mind because he sucked. It was like Kyler Murray didn't realize he was on the team week 1. Then he goes off for like 2 touchdowns. Points. Yeah. And then
70%
we're back
snap percentage. Only 8 targets though. So that's the thing is, even with that big game, it was only 8 targets. So his target has been 3, 8, 11, 6, 7, and 2. Of course, he got injured the last one, so that's going to affect it. But still, Not even seeing 10 average. Snap percentage has kind of been a little bit all over 90, 70, and the 70% snap usage will probably maybe a little bit of garbage time. Was the one who got 29 points. But then 88, 92, 76, and then with the injury 14. So it's like, man, I mean, it's tough sledding with that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's something with him in the locker room, or if it's just work ethic, if it's something different.
It's
but
definitely not work ethic.
Yeah.
Not from that. Not from that bloodline.
I mean, you would think so, but I mean, there's a lot of things where he's not signing contracts with not FanDuel but Fanatics, and the NIL stuff, which I support him in. I mean, for one,
Right.
it's absolutely your choice. But I mean, definitely with his father, probably kind of in the back of his ear, in his ear a little bit, kind of telling him, hey, I wish I would have done things this way whenever I was your age.
Right.
And it could be just a rookie deal where maybe that first year is not going to be that great, right? Still figuring out a little bit of playbook, figuring out the game speed, and then also
That's typically what happens, but you just have that outlier of Malik Neighbors. That's the problem. We would still, and we were even, I mean, the fantasy footballers were even saying like, I think Marvin, and they're all Arizona Cardinals fans, and they're like,
yeah,
I think he might be a bust this year.
They
Compared
may
to where
be
he's
saying that
drafting.
now. They may be saying that now, but they were high on Kyler and Marvin. At least a couple of them were, but that's not this show.
Shout out Greg Dortch.
Yeah, I mean Greg Dortch, man. I mean that's another one too. So talk about tight ends. Let's look at a couple there. Isaiah Likely. Love or let go. He is the tight end 9. 1, 2.
There's
Six.
Lamar.
Tight end
Lamar
six.
spread.
Tight end
Lamar.
6.
Lamar is spreading the ball around.
Yeah, no, he is.
Now, granted, the Cincinnati Bengals defense is terrible. The Washington Commanders are playing a lot better defensively, but they're still suspect. And Lamar sat back there and really had time to throw and pick them apart. Plus, with them establishing Derrick Henry, I saw some film where, I mean, they're still stacking 7 guys in the box. And Lamar was able to pick them apart. So he's keeping them honest. And Isaiah still got solid targets. I think they were forcing Mark Andrews because I knew he was probably getting frustrated. But, I mean, I'd like Isaiah Likely, even as the number 2 tight end on that team, than a lot of tight ends that are the main guy.
Yep. And so, I mean, I was going to go with a different one, but you said his name, Andrews. Andrews. Love or let go, right? I mean, kind of the same scenario, and honestly, a little bit of a flipped role because, when you talk about Isaiah Likely, he started off hot. 26 points in the first week, but then 4.6, 1.4, 3.6. Got 16 points last week and then 4 points this week.
Yeah.
But for Andrews, it's been kind of the opposite. I mean, 3.49, 0. That's when I dropped.
Right.
But 9.5 and 15.6.
Yep.
I mean, is this just a toxic relationship with another Raven? I mean, do you spell Baltimore with Toxic? Or, I mean, what the fuck is going on here, man?
Fantasy-wise, yeah, because if you listen to their interviews, it's not. I don't watch the Ravens at all, guys. I don't know. There's nothing about me that says I watch the Ravens. You can't tell at all that I'll keep up with the Ravens. Okay? You can't tell. No. Do I keep up with the Ravens? Oh, shit. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought I was reading something different. Yeah.
Not bad for a running back. Anyway, someone I was listening to a show today, and someone was saying that Derrick Henry could be up for MVP, and someone was like, "Running backs don't win MVP." He was like, "Lamar already has 2 of them," and he never caught on to what he was trying to say. And I just wanted to punch the screen. I was like, "You mother." Anyway, it's just they even said in their both Lamar and Derrick Henry said, "Pick your poison offense." Because they're going to utilize everyone. Yeah. Because Isaiah Likely caught balls this week. Bateman is getting established. Obviously, Zay Flowers, I like him. Zay Flowers pretty much got all of his 132 yards like the first half. It was kind of crazy. But Mark Andrews is going to get the ball more than Isaiah Likely. So if you're choosing between the two, I'm still sticking with Mark Andrews because you can see the production picking up, and they're scheming Mark in different ways than they probably are now that they finally established Derek and Lamar. And it's the highest powered offense in the game right now. Not name the Green Bay Packers and a couple other teams that we've talked about, and Houston Texans. The Bengals kind of fell back a little bit, but everyone's not going to score 30 points a game. Or the Bucks. Sorry, the Bucks were also kind of high powered. Obviously, they dropped 51.
Yep. Well, okay, so let's jump to defense then, right? For that, a little bit of that nature, because
I hate them all. No,
oh my God, right? Yeah. But no. So I mean, you talk about the Bucks, high-powered offense. They're always in a shootout. It seems like really much of the South.
Yeah.
I mean, the South is like the Big 12, where there's just it's West Coast offense, even though it's the Southeast, and there's just no defense. I mean, because absolute shootouts each time. So for defenses, I mean, do you love or let go of streaming defenses? I mean, at this point, do you just hope when you find a good defense? When we talk about top 5, Minnesota Vikings, right? Green Bay Packers, Chicago Bears, San Francisco 49ers, Pittsburgh Steelers, Denver Broncos are there. I mean, if you have them, do you lock in, or are you streaming and following
you lock in until their bye week, and then you drop them and pick up whoever, and then hope you can get them back the next week. Yeah. I will never fill up 2 roster spots with 2 defenses. I just won't. I know some. I don't know many people that do, but I know some people that have in the past. But the thing is, it takes a special defense to where they're just too consistent to let them go. And I've done that before. I don't like doing it. I mean, I've been holding on to Kansas City this whole season because I'm in those leagues to where they're not going to give up a lot of points because Kansas City's not going to put up a lot of points. But that's a well-balanced team, guys.
Unfortunately for fantasy purpose.
Yeah.
They are balanced.
Yeah. But the Green Bay Packers takeaways is why they're up there. Their takeaways are, I think Xavier's McKinney's got 4 or 5.
Yeah, at least. It looks like they've got
like 8 takeaways or something.
9. They got 9 on the year.
Yeah.
They had 1 each game. I'm just looking at interceptions, really.
Yeah.
Because fumbles recovered are the same. Oh, my God. So this was the first game they did not have an interception. But to make up for that, they had 3 fumble recoveries.
Right.
Like, that is nuts, man. I mean, but their floor right now is 7 points, and their ceiling is 22. Where Minnesota's floor is 9 and their ceiling is 22. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild. You got some of these defenses that we thought were going to be up there, like the Jets and, the Ravens. It looks like some people for some reason are still trusting in the Eagles. Maybe they're just low-key Eagle fans for some reason. But yeah, so I mean, okay, so. Other than the bye week, though, are you streaming or are you sticking with one defense?
If I can if I have one of those defense that you said, or like a Kansas City you didn't list Kansas City, but I'm still sticking with like a Kansas City or something like that.
Yeah.
If I don't have one of those, then yes, I'm streaming. And here's how you can stream without having to look at defenses every week to week. That would frustrate the shit out of me. Is you would look at that one defense that's decent enough that their next 3 or 4 games are against bad offenses. So if you're like, oh, I've got the Raiders and the Dolphins, and the Browns, and just bad offenses. If you can at least do that, then you can at least be like, all right, I can at least set it, forget it, don't worry about it. But that typically doesn't always happen. But that's like, so if I don't have an established defense that I can just set and forget. Doesn't matter who they play. I like their defense, like a Minnesota or Green Bay or San Francisco or something like that. Then I would move into, all right, of those mid-tier defenses, which one has the best 3 to 4 weeks going forward that I'm okay starting them and not having to spot start? Because then you just get down to who plays the Cleveland Browns every week. I'm going to pick up that defense. That's
Carolina Panthers.
Well, Carolina's offense is getting better when Andy Dalton.
Are they? Are they? They were that 1 week.
Deontay Johnson's in the top 10.
Okay, yeah, but this week they did do decent.
Chuba Hubbard playing.
Whenever they played my Bears last week. And,
Someone
gave me shit because I was like, "Oh, you're targeting the Carolina Panthers," and then fucking they got whooped. I was like,
"The Bears are a good defense."
Huh? Yeah, no, they are. They really are. But yeah, for those Panther hunting, Washington, Denver, and New Orleans and New York Giants are the next games. So hunting season's open, baby. Get at them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had to drop the Kansas City Chiefs this week and pick up the Houston Texans. And I was like, oh, darn.
That turned out terrible.
I know. I was so pissed. So it's just like I picked up Houston. It just happened that the chips fell that way because I like Houston's defense going forward anyway. And plus, in that division, oh, God, sign me up. With an Anthony Richardson, I know he played. They had played pretty close that week 1, but I mean, Tennessee's terrible. Jacksonville's not very good. So,
man, kind of getting a little better.
Kind of, but like I said, Houston. I'm probably going to look to move past because there's probably Minnesota Vikings that were on a bye week that I could pick up. But I just worry about Minnesota because they're going to get into that NFC North. And how good is that offense, or that defense really compared to the Packers or the Lions?
Nope.
I mean, I think they can handle the Bears, even if Caleb gets better, but who knows? But
yeah, I like it, man. All right, let's do 2 quarterbacks. And then we're going to wrap it up for the night, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you all hanging out with us. Definitely let us know in the chat. Who do you love? Who are you letting go of? And, and condolences. Because there's probably a lot of people getting let go of this week. I know from my
if they come back, it's meant to be AKA Caleb Williams. Because I drafted him, I let him go, and then he came back.
Nice. And then definitely like and subscribe and follow us at Ruckus EV everywhere right now. So jumping back to quarterbacks, man. 2 quarterbacks who love or let go. Joe Flacco.
I mean, you gotta let them go because they're gonna force Anthony Richardson. So unless you're expecting Anthony Richardson come out, lay an egg 2 weeks in a row, just to put Joe Flacco in, depending on their record, are they really going to keep pushing Joe Flacco down our throat? Because at that point, let's just have Anthony Richardson go through his growing pains, get a better draft pick, and figure it out from there.
Yeah, I mean, it is wild how fast people turned on him. Came out last year, played 4 games, looked amazing, got injured. And then you had this year-long wait to see him. Everybody's all up on his nuts. And then he comes out, kind of lays some goose eggs, gets injured again, and then Flacco comes in and people love him. And now he's coming back, and they're going to put him back in.
It's a Lamar effect of what we're seeing right now with some of these quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson, Justin Fields, you just see it a lot.
Sure, it's not a Michael Vick effect. I mean, maybe you're giving your guy a little bit too much credit there.
No, because
what about a Randall Cunningham effect?
A Cordell Stewart? I can.
Cordell Stewart.
Warren Moon threw the ball a lot. No. Warren Moon threw the ball a lot. Okay.
He was black. He could run. He did when he was with
He
Kansas City,
came
but
from
he
the
was
Canadian
also like
Football
30,
League
40 years old.
before he established himself as a Pro Football Hall of Famer. He was in the Canadian Football League, like Kurt Warner and shit, like in the AF. Well, he was in the Arena Football League, but anyway.
That's all right.
Yes, I'm going. If you can tell, it's kind
bread.
of like a Lamar-centric show. Yes, but the thing is, it's like
your side.
when yes, there was a Michael Vick effect, but then people got away from it because they figure, oh, it's just a once in a lifetime thing. Then Lamar was like, oh, he can't do it, blah, blah. He established himself, and now people are trying to find that next Lamar. Guess what? Washington did.
Yeah, no, they definitely did. Jaden Daniels looks good this year. 1 year doesn't make your career, ladies and gentlemen. So just keep that in mind. But no, he's doing incredible. Just like C.J. Stroud did last year. We're looking at them to stay. So anyways, one more quarterback. Daniel Jones. Love or let go?
Oh no, I'm keeping his ass. Malik Neighbors coming back. He runs the ball too. They run. They make plays for him to run.
So crazy,
he gets his rushing yards.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking with Daniel Jones. I can't believe I'm saying this, and I have a bad taste in my mouth as I'm saying this sentence.
Yeah,
I threw they if you watch last game, they literally like QB draw up the middle because he's a big physical quarterback. He just is. Can he throw the ball accurately? Hell no. But when he can, it goes to Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
And Wandale Robinson and Darius Slayton. And plus, Dable is a quarterback whisperer. The reason I'm saying this, he was the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. Remember Josh Allen, like first 2 years?
And
they were
Josh
rocky.
Is missing his ass.
And now they're still trying to figure out that right combination when Josh Allen was just going nuts. And then Dable goes to the Giants. He's still trying to figure it out. I think the GM's trying to screw him over. He didn't make very good moves in the offseason, but they got a solid defense. That defense is pretty legit to me. So they're always going to be somewhat in games. And so they're just trying to they're trying to keep the game within Daniel Jones's repertoire and trying to make him, they're not trying to make him be more than what he honestly is, which is a below Kirk Cousins tier quarterback. But fantasy wise, he's fine.
Yeah. No, he's definitely been on the rise. First week laying a goose egg. Not a true goose egg, but 6.94 against Minnesota. Incredible defense, though.
Right.
That was, as we know now.
Yeah, because we didn't know that. That's a good point, because a lot of people after that were like, oh, I told you Daniel Jones is just shit. No, Minnesota is just really freaking good.
Yeah, yeah. And, completing 22 of 42 next game, completing 16 of 28. 24 of 34, 29 of 40, 23 of 34, 22 of 41. It's like you said, completion percentage kind of a little all over. Like just right around 50% or a little bit above. But the rushing, starts off week 1, 6 attempts, then 5, 8, 4. Then last 2 games, 11 and 11.
Yeah.
Getting 38
that's
yards
why I'm loving him.
56 yards. Yeah.
And if you're in a league where the rushing yards are separate than the total, than his passing yards, yeah, Daniel Jones is a guy I would stash as your backup quarterback if you don't already have like a established quarterback. But if you have for love-hate, if you have a Kyler Murray, I'd stash Daniel Jones.
Yep.
I would.
Oh, yeah. No. Even if you have a Kyler Murray, maybe get rid of him.
I wouldn't get rid of Kyler Murray.
In my situation?
Yeah, I would. In yours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because
I got Baker Mayfield, everybody.
Yeah.
And he's staying in. He's locked in that position.
He's locked in.
I wish you could lock it so that way you don't drink and roster.
That just makes it interesting as a person just watching this happen. Like, really? Did he just put? Okay. All right,
yeah. He just said drink and roster.
Who's Baker playing? Carolina, and he's starting Kyler against the Minnesota Vikings. What is he? Okay, let's just see what happens.
Yeah. But point values. Point. This week was a little bit low. All right, playing against the Bengals, 12.8. But I'm with you. I would hold on to him. Definitely a very worthy, fill-in, and honestly, in a deeper league, not a bad option. If you're in a dynasty, with a super flex.
Oh yeah,
that's a great spot. That's a perfect spot for Daniel Jones as a super flex right there. He will provide you point totals. I mean, he got 22.8 last week, and has gotten 18 and 19 before. So, I mean, that's really good output, especially for this year. I mean, with it just being a little bit low overall, we're starting to get back up there, guys. We got some 40 burgers this week, unfortunately against your team, but yeah, no, man. I mean, that's fun. I like that. I like doing that, love and let go, bro.
Yeah.
Anything else before we sign off, man?
Yeah. Thank you all again, everyone that always joins us. GIF as always. Congratulations. I think this might be your bud.
Yeah.
Well deserved. You've been screwed the past two. So whatever. But and then thank you, Antonio, Dirty Money, Soul, and everyone for joining us in the chats. If for anyone that's joining us that's seeing this video a little bit later, feel free to subscribe. We go live every Monday, right around 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern, or a little bit later, just depends. Because guess what? I wish we could do this for a living. We're not quite there yet, but please join us in helping us get there. So where we can really give you all the best content we possibly can as far as fantasy is concerned. On Tuesdays, you can catch me and my buddies for Game Dudes as we go through a D&D based game called Divinity Sins Original, Divinity Original Sins 2. Yeah, that's a mouthful. If we don't play that, we still typically play any type of co-op PvE games. If anyone knows what that is, it's player versus environment. There's no PvP, so I'm sorry, we're not going to do the Call of Duties and stuff because we're too old and we don't have that anymore. We can't keep up.
Isn't that just called survival?
Kind of. But anyway,
against environment.
we play a lot of indie games. So if you're looking to get into some other indie games, feel free to watch us every Tuesday. We go live at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central on that. Wednesdays, you can join us two here along with Soul to wrap up everything else in the week that was in sports. So we just not only cover football, we cover obviously the baseball playoffs going on right now. Unfortunately, Kansas City got eliminated.
Sorry, I fell asleep. You said baseball. What?
Yeah. And then we also talk baseball. Obviously, the WNBA finals is going on right now. The NBA is getting ready to ramp up. Hockey's getting ready to ramp up. So just really getting into those fall sports.
October's the best month for sports. Really.
Yeah. So, well, yes, that in March. March Madness. I love that.
Yeah, March is a great one, too.
March. I sleep in May. But anyway, so we do that. Join us there. And then Thursday, myself and Justin Toner wrap up everything that is the week that is, was, and will be in the world of wrestling. And we typically try, and this past week we did a watch along for WWE's Bad Blood. And we're looking to add to those. We had a great time doing that. It was our live reactions as we're doing it. And please join us for those, and we'll keep you updated on those. But anything else, thank you all so much for joining. Like, subscribe, hit all the stuff there. Please join us on the Discord. That is nonstop going over there. We shoot the breeze, shoot the shit, whatever you want to say, and everything, depending on what you want to talk about. And we'd love to join you and help you all out in that conversation.
Yeah, and if you have anything like my team, you may be feeling like this. Hold on. That's right. Don't drink and rust, everybody. I've been Tvshka. This is Josh. This is Fantasy Fuck Around. Let your mom know about it. And we'll see y'all the next time. Peace, everybody.
You're probably really good at fantasy. You don't need to watch this show.
Oh, she's so good. She's so good. She's so good.